It's a no show notes day. Can you hear the washing machine? It's laundry day too. Hello and welcome to Babbles Travelling Yarns. My name is Grace. I'll be your host today. I am an Irish girl. I live in Limerick at the moment, but I do quite a lot of travelling and showing you around the place. So that's why it's called Babbles Travelling Yarns. I also love to talk, which is why you'll probably be here for an hour. So settle in, get your drink, and let's get started.
Hi Beans, say hi. Say hi to your friends. Say hi to... Look at the tiny tooth. Look at the tiny tooth. He's been outside, you can tell because his tail is extra fluffy. Extra fluffy tail.
Well, Beans, what you doing? Hey, what you doing? Hey, what you doing, Beans? Hey, what you doing?
I gotta get a cute picture of us, Beans. Oh, look, Mr. Beans is so lovely. He likes to be cuddled even though he looks like he doesn't. Poor little Beans. Poor little Beansy. Now back to your regular schedule. You love me. Pretend. Just for the video.
Oh, he's so cute. So what am I drinking today? I'm drinking in my beautiful rescued, because I broke the handle, Remembrances Pottery winter sock mug. Oh, it's the cutest. And in here I've got a bit of a flu buster because there's a few little kind of flus going around and colds, and James is feeling a bit sick, so I was like, right. So for the last maybe 2 weeks I've just been having a slice of lemon and actually 2 slices of ginger, like a big slice of root ginger and hot water. So yeah, I also find I've been finding that coffee is kind of making me feel a little bit like and tea is actually kind of staining my teeth a little bit because I have black tea. So I'm just trying to stay away from that a little bit and try some lemon and hot water. Apparently it's really good for you. So it's very hot at the moment. That's quite nice actually, it's lovely. So I have just remembered something that I was supposed to do for this podcast, but I'll tell you about it now. I haven't done a full read over it, but Carol Feller has just released a new shawl book. No, it's not a shawl book. It's actually, so I think she's actually edited a book full of patterns that are all kind of based on like Irish Celtic designs. I am in love. I'm going to link it down below so you can see what I'm talking about. I might put in a few pictures here as well. The front picture is so stunning. It's based on an ancient Celtic stone design that was found outside of Newgrange, which has these concentric circles, and the shawl is amazing. So I've been kindly gifted the book to do a review of it, and I'm going to do a proper review once I have time, and I'm gonna like write out things and everything. So that's going to be in the next podcast if I remember. But I'm really delighted to have been considered to get the book to review it for you. So I am going to get that done ASAP. But if you want to have a little look yourself, you can follow the link down below for that. It's just so pretty. I'm going to put up a few more pictures. Oh, look at them all. I love that there's like a little bit of delicate cable in some of them. Oh, it's so nice. Anyway, I can't remember them exactly because the link is actually on my phone that I'm recording on at the moment. So I'm just going from memory of when it was sent to me. So I'll do a proper review later and you'll see what I think of it. Now, where do I start, lads? What have I been doing? I have been so I have got a jam-packed craft show really for you today. I've got knitting, not so much knitting. I'm sorry if you're not seeing so much knitting from me recently. I'm just in a different kind of groove, and that's okay. Also, I have a little cut here, which is kind of sore from my hands, and I've been because I've been knitting so much on James's big Aran sweater that my fingers have been a bit sore, so I'm just taking a little bit of a rest from knitting. Also, I've been completely obsessed with something else. So I'm doing some knitting. I have one project to show you that I've been working on, and it's just kind of my work project that I take in with me. And then I've got a huge weaving project to show you and a spinning project to show you. And I'm really excited about them. So I'll show you the knitting first. So I have been, if I can find it, where is it gone? There it is. So I am knitting the antler toque, which is the antler hat, with some beautiful the Moon and Sixpence yarn by Annie down in West Cork. This is organic merino DK, and this is naturally dyed with avocados. So that's really exciting. I was talking to Annie, and she's going to be at my retreat with some of her acid dyed yarns and hopefully some of her naturally dyed yarns as well, if she gets time. She is moving at the moment. Loads of people are moving at the moment. Anyway, so the saga of this hat. So if anyone has knit the antler, apparently everyone has problems with the sizing. So I cast it on and it was way too small. But I was kind of halfway up the hat by the time I realised. So I took it back off the needles, and I was out when I was doing it. So I decided, okay, instead of just a 1x1 rib, I'm going to do a 1x1 twisted rib. Mainly because I didn't have the smaller needles with me, so the twisted rib might pull it in a little bit more. But I also decided, because I wanted to use as much of this as possible, to do a double brim hat. And that will also kind of tuck in, you know, it'll be extra strong, you know, it'll be extra thick so that it'll pull in a little bit because there's extra there. So it's all done in the one needle size, which I don't know if I'm going to regret or not, but anyway, 'tis grand. Yeah, so this is a really cushy 1x1 twisted rib double brim, which did take a long time to knit, I will be honest. So when I had about 2.5 inches, when I had 5 inches of the rib, I folded it over and I picked up the first, you know, the cast on edge and knitted together with the current row that I was knitting, and I got this lovely join, which is just, you know, I just knit a simple knit row, and you can see it there just underneath. Yeah, and then I started the cable. So the cable is coming up. The rib took a week, to be honest. I was only knitting it at lunch times, at lunch breaks. Yeah, I didn't really get too much time to knit on this, but it is beautiful and soft and squishy. I was hoping to have it done for my mum's 60th birthday, but that was on the 24th of August. But last night, it was the 1st of September, and last night was her retirement party, so we all went out, and the whole department showed up. So my mum has been a nurse for 42 years, since she was 18, but that's a long time. Yeah, so she has been working her bum off to support me and my family, and she has helped so many, I can't even imagine how many people she's helped. The number is astronomical. So yeah, so we went out and I bought her some little things. I was down at the Cork craft show at the weekend, yesterday actually. I was demonstrating with the guild, which was a huge amount of fun because they got me up on stage and I was talking. I was demonstrating spinning and weaving as well to a whole bunch of new crafters. So the craft show was a lot of different types of crafts. You know, it was people drawing, it was fine art stuff, it was jewellery, it was pottery, it was woodworkings and stone sculpture, loads of different things. I did a live on my Instagram and I might try and save the live, maybe the lives, I'm not sure. I didn't do a proper vlog on it because I was on my own for the whole day, so I didn't really get a chance to run around and do a little bit of vlogging to show you what it was like. I'm sorry about that, but I'll hopefully be able to pin the live on my Instagram and you might be able to go back and have a look, because I went around and I went to every stall and there was some really, really cool stuff there. So yay! Yeah, so they're there again today on Sunday, and unfortunately there was 2 things on yesterday I really wanted to go to, but I was kind of the only person who could go to Cork, so I decided to do that and fill that slot, because otherwise there'd be nobody there and we wouldn't be able to get seen there as the guild, as part of the guild. So, but it was brilliant. I didn't regret it at all. But there was also a wonderful event that took place in Yeats Tower up near up in Galway on the border. I can't remember exactly, but kind of Clare Galway area, and it was glorious. I saw loads of little videos, so there will be a blog post up on the Irish Guild of Weavers, Spinners and Dyers site too, if you're interested in having a look at what they did there. So we're working on putting that together. Yay! Anyway, that's enough about demoing. So last week then, I'm sorry, I should put this down because I'm just looking down now. It is addictive, these little cables. I am cabling without a cable needle, which just makes everything go so much faster. I won't be doing any tutorials on how to do that because there's a lot better ones out there and I don't have the setup, and I don't want people complaining at me, so no. I'm not going to do tutorials on this. Yeah, so the next thing so you might remember last week, if you did see me last week, I was looking at my wall of yarn, which is just behind you there. I'll show you again. This is my wall of yarn, and you may notice, where is it? Here, there's an empty gap. Empty gap was warped onto my loom approximately 2 hours after I filmed the podcast. I warped my loom while it was uploading, while the podcast was uploading last Sunday. And then I realized, so I warped the loom. This is what it looked like. Oh, it's so gorgeous. But then I realized I had no weft. I didn't have the right colors to go across it. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have no black yarn, I have no dark yarn, I had some beautiful travel knitter camel silk, but I had hand spun the warp, and I kind of really wanted the hand spun weft, and I didn't have enough black left from this garment to use it. So I decided, I don't know if you'll remember, but there was a where did I put it? Yeah. So I went to Yarn Folk Festival and John Arbon was there, and I picked up 300 grams of this. This is, I believe it is part of the Harvest Hues yarn. It's the top of the Harvest Hues yarn, and it might be blue spruce. I think it might be blue spruce. Hopefully, well, I don't really care. It's beautiful. Look at it. So this is John Arbon. It's Zwartbles and Falkland Merino mix, which gives it that lovely deep black in there, that lovely sheen through it. I just braided it up to keep it tidy on the show and to show people what it was like. This is just a crochet chain. So I warped up the loom and then I realized, oh no, I have no weft. Went digging and found this. I was like, yes. So I warped the loom. I wanted a very long warp. I warped it. It's probably about 2.5 meters or 2 meters anyway. It's quite a lot on the back roller. So 300 grams of weft was definitely what I needed. So I think this is this is the leftover. I kind of got to a stage where I was like, that's probably enough. And I filled up 2 Ashford like traditional small Ashford bobbins to the brink. And I could normally fit 100 grams on a bobbin like that. So I filled up 2 singles and then I got 2 more bobbins and spun them off. But yeah, so there was a lot. I got through a lot of this. I haven't weighed it. I really should. My weighing scales is back there. I should just do it. Let's find it together. Okay, weighing scales. I have no flat surface on the floor. Okay. Oh, 54 grams. Okay, so this is only 50 grams. So I spun up 250 grams of the John Arbon Harvest Hues Blue Spruce top. I think it's blue spruce. It might not be. It might be just a special top that they make. But it's on their website. And if you're a Mill member, they have a beautiful like blackberry red one, which I really want to get a whole load of, but I haven't managed to get on the site. I'm also on a yarn ban. So hopefully when I go to Edinburgh, they'll have some of that gorgeous kind of burgundy red top, which I want so badly. And if you're a Mill member of John Arbon, like I am, costs £25 for life. You get 20% off at all the shows and 10% off online. And you also get special access to a Mill member area. Just saying, it's so worth it. And when you pay the £25, you get a present of a full skein of yarn and a mini and some badges and a metal needle gauge and a project bag. Like, you'd be paying that anyway. It's so worth it if you really want to become a Mill member. I really, like, I can't get over how many people don't know about it. Just do it. Just do it. It's worth it. It is a surprise skein as well, so that's kind of nice. Anyway, so let me show you what I did. So I spun this super quick. This was default. It was my default spin. And so it came out at a DK weight, Sport DK. Look at how huge this is. The other one was as big, but I'm after popping it onto a onto the shuttle because I started weaving with it yesterday at the show. So I have this. So basically, I had 2 balls this big, which this fit on an Ashford's bobbin, which are the small ones. Like, this is my head. I have a big head. So, oh, just look at that black sheen. Now, what I wanted to do with this spin, if you can see, there's a little bit of texture in there. Kind of a little bit of like swirling. I'll see if I can find you a piece where I was working, because I worked on it sometimes where I wanted to just kind of create a little bit of texture, a little bit of bubbly. Yeah, this piece here, if you can see it, I was plying it, and what I did was when I came to a thin part and a thick part, I held the thick part out at 90, maybe 45 degrees or 90 degrees, and I kind of just like put it on so it wrapped around it, and it formed this beautiful textural, soft, squishy kind of yarn with kind of thick and thin, and it captures the shadows so nicely. Isn't it pretty? I love it. Just to look at it in the ball, actually on the camera, is lovely as well. Just the shadows. It just really captures, and because of the Zwartbles in there, the dark Zwartbles sheep is a black sheep with a white blaze on the nose, and the fleece is black or brown, and I have some fleece out the back actually, but it just gives such depth. It's almost like a navy, a teal navy, royal navy blue. It's beautiful, and it just like, you see this little So I really was excited I wanted to weave with it, and I wanted to kind of have a little bit of a play with texture in there a little bit, because it's just going to be a plain weave up and down. So let me show you what I've been weaving. I love this stuff. I'm going to get through this in a couple of days now. I can't believe how quick I'm going to like using this stuff. So exciting. So I am weaving this on my Ashford Rigid Heddle 16-inch samplet loom, and it is I'm so annoyed that it didn't go all let me talk. Here it is. So this is the warp, and that's the weft down there. You see that blue? It's just picking up on all the other blues, and it's kind of saddening the warp a tiny bit, but it still is, it makes it very wearable, I think. So nice. So let me talk a little bit about the warp. So the warp was 2 skeins of yarn that I spun from Irish Fairy Tale Yarns, and they were, one of them went from white, I think the change is about here, one of them went from white all the way to like a dark navy blue, and then one of them went from, it was a blue to a white and then to a black. So what I wanted to do was to blend them together, and I could do that on the warp by basically just doing, you know, like on a sew faded sweater where you just knit every second round in the different color, you know, or if you're doing flat, you just go back and forth twice with one color and then back and forth with the other, and you just kind of do a little stripe. And you can kind of see when I'm weaving with it, you can see where I striped it here, but it's like really subtle, you know, it's fine. I don't really mind at all, it's lovely. So you can see where I blended the two together because they weren't exactly the same. It was going to go from black to blue and then from white, blue, and then dark black. You know, it was not going to quite work out. So I blended this center part when I was putting the warp on. I took, you know, I was taking one big loop and then came back, and then from the other ball taking the other big loop. So oh, you can see this, the warp has a bit of silk in there, or I think it's maybe bamboo. I think it's bamboo, which gives it this white through it. You can see the white little glints there. Oh, it's lovely, it's lovely. And it's going to add a lovely drape. So what I wanted to do, there are 3 different ways you can weave. You can weave really tightly. You can bash this down really tight so that the weft shows more than the warp. So you're pushing it down so tight, like, you know, tapestries in castles. You can't see the warp at all on those. You can't see the long strings. It's just a normal cotton thread, and they make the solid color blocks by like tamping them down so that none of the warp shows through the weft thread. And that makes a really sturdy, solid piece of fabric with zero ease, like the zero drape. It's very, very kind of, this is a piece of insulation for your castle wall. That's what they were made for, really. They were decoration, but also insulation from the cold castle wall. So, yeah, and then what you can do as well is do a warp-faced weave where you're pulling and this is often what you see, krisses or belts that are woven. You see that you can't see the warp at all. You can't see the weft at all. You only see the warp. You only see the straight bits. I have an example here. So like this, you know, you can see the warp mostly, and that's because the weft threads have been pulled across really tightly to push everything together, to not leave any space. So I wanted a piece of fabric to make a garment, kind of like the one I'm wearing now. So I really wanted a piece of fabric to make a garment, so I didn't want it super super like sturdy and tight, and I didn't want it super thin. I wanted, and if I wanted to not pull the thread really tight, I have an example. I'm actually wearing it because I made a bit of a mistake with this first garment. So it's kind of difficult to see because it's in the dark section, but in this section you can see that I was kind of doing like sometimes I was beating down harder and sometimes I was beating down lighter, so you can see more of the warp in these kind of when I was kind of squishing the threads down a little bit less, and then this is when I was kind of like obviously I was a bit angrier, I was watching something exciting on TV. But if you can see on this part, you can see a lot more of the warp and less of the black. See those black parts there? And it's the same black that's gone across it, but I wanted a little more of the warp to be seen. However, this fabric is a lot looser and it's pilling a lot more. If you can see, it's pilling. And it's probably because it's also on the edge of my garment, but the hand spun also has a lot more space it's more, what's the word? There's a lot more of it to the open, which can be rubbed up and down, and then those little fibers, those little short fibers can come out. But if you see here, in this part, there's very little pilling going on. But on this part, let's see if you can see it. Look at all the pills up along here. So for durability's sake, I didn't want to do the same thing again. I didn't want this to be as drapey and soft. Like I can actually stick my finger through this, but I couldn't stick my finger through this. So I wanted it more durable. I wanted what was called an even weave, and I think it's working. I did use this to demonstrate to some people, but they only went to one or two things, and I don't really mind a little bit of wobble on the edges. So this is what I'm trying to aim for. There's a little bit of a wobble here, but that's fine. Just probably here, where the threads going across have the same kind of face. They're the same length as the threads going up. So the threads going across, same as the threads going up. So you still see both. You see both the warp and the weft at the same time, and it gives you a lovely even weave. It's called just an even weave. So it's just being a little bit mindful about when I'm weaving and really just looking at what I'm doing. It still goes as fast, and I just love it so much. Look at it. I love it. It's so nice. I cannot stop looking at it. I'm obsessed. Now, I've not really noticed the little textured parts yet, because I think I decided to start doing the textured parts a little bit later on into the skein, so I don't know where exactly they'll come in and if they'll make a difference at all. They're lovely to look at, but I don't know if it'll just be lost in this. It didn't take any extra time when plying, it was just fun, so I really don't mind. Yeah, so this is what I'm working on. This is my next garment piece, hand spun garment piece, not dyed by me, but dyed by Irish Fairy Tale Yarns again, and John Arbon Textiles is the warp. Yay! And I am annoyed that I didn't have enough to fill up the whole one. There are ways that you can calculate that online, but I'm not a calculator because I'm really bad. I don't calculate my yardage when I've spun. I just kind of spin until I think I'm done, and then I have some left over if I think I need some more. But general rule is the amount of, for me anyway, if I'm doing an even weave, the amount of yarn that I need to do the warp is the same amount of yarn that I need to do the weft. General rule, that's what I have found. If I have 50% left after warping it, it should do me for the rest of the weft. Then again, if you're doing a really tight, if you're doing a really tight weave, you'll need more weft, and if you're doing a really loose weave, you'll need less. So it depends on the type of weaving you want to do. Lessons with Grace. So what I want to do is, I'm going to lift this up again. It's a bit annoying to lift all the time, but that's grand. What I want to kind of do is do a closed garment this time. I want a kind of a neck piece, maybe like this, folded in, and so this will be like my shoulder. I think, and then it'll be straight down. I'll do like a tunic. Or what I could do is, if I have enough left over, or I might just get some more of that top, because I know it's like I know it's their standard, so they have it all the time. I might get some more of that yarn, spin it up, have a centerpiece where this is the front of my body, and I have a back of my body, sew it at the corners, and do a little bit of bias binding around the neck, and then pick up stitches, or pick up the edges here, and knit the sides, and I could have a little t-shirt. So, but I have a lot of fabric on this, so it's probably going to come out to at least 2 meters of probably, it's not 16 inches. I don't know what it is actually. I have a tape measure somewhere. Do I? Now this is going to shrink in a little bit, so it's not a real. Do you know? Oh my gosh, my wonderful friend Carmen gave me a beautiful advent calendar, and there was at least 3 measuring tapes in there. Can you find one when you need it? No. Typical. That's very nice. Oh well. Oh hey, hang on. I had one there. I'll use a crappy one that I got from a Christmas card. So let's see how big it is. It's 12.5 inches now, so it'll probably go down to 11.5 inches, or maybe just 12 inches. I don't know if it's going to really shrink that much. It's not under a huge amount of strain because it's hand spun, and I'm scared it'll break. It has, one of the warp threads has broken when I was doing it, when I was warping it, so I just got to be careful when I come to that part that I don't break it again. It's going to be a little bit delicate. Yes, so that is what I'm doing with my weaving. So I warped it all up, and I warped it up in one night on Sunday. Last Sunday, and a week ago, and then I started spinning on Sunday night. I spun all the singles in 2 nights, and then I plied in 2 nights, so it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I dried, and I soaked and thwacked and hung the yarn over Friday, and then it was dry on Saturday, and I started weaving with it on Saturday. So fast, so that was fun. Then, so at the guild, I didn't really have anything to spin, and I was gonna, you know, at the show, I didn't really have anything to spin, and I was gonna be like showing the locks, and you know, I was explaining all about flicking out the locks and showing about where the different types of sheep and the different types of fibre and the different types of. I wish I'd filmed the talks because I really enjoyed giving them. They were about an hour long, but it was all about the whole process from sheep, washing the fibre, cleaning it with all the different types of methods, different types of breeds, and then spinning it and how it's different, and then how drop spindling works, and then how a spinning wheel works, and then how a rigid head loom works, and then all about the guild and all that jazz. I wish I'd filmed it next time. So I think I spoke to you about it last week, but I got some beautiful fibre in the post. This is a skein that I spun up, I can't remember, 6 months ago, maybe 5 months ago. It is Whales, Ships and Icebergs by Hello Yarn Fibre Club. It's March 2013, Hello Yarn Fibre Club. And I had a standing kind of, I love this so much. If anyone has some, I want some more. So I got 2 more braids. So I started spinning it. So I think last week I was talking about, I can't remember how I actually knit this. Like, I just can't remember. So what I did was, I remember now, I went back and I looked, and I did a fractal spinning on this. So a fractal spin, I think the fractal spin that I did was I split the fibre down the middle, straight down the middle. So this is 1/2, and this is the other half, and I spun all of it yesterday at the Cork craft show. So pretty. So I have this much to spin. So I'm spinning 1/2 straight onto the bobbin. Now the next bobbin, what I'm going to do is I am going to strip this braid down in half and then in half again. I'm going to strip it all down into tiny little strips, pencil roving effectively. And then I'm going to spin all from the same direction. I start the same direction the whole time. And then it should match this one-ish, give or take. And then I think I'm going to knit myself a jumper. Maybe. I've got 3 of them, so it should do me. A sleeveless jumper maybe. Or, yeah, so I'm going to finally knit myself a jumper with this beautiful fibre because it's so pretty. I have another jumper spin that I'm working on, but I'm not there yet. So I think I need to do a bit more blending, and that's put me off doing that. So I'm like playing with this instead. So pretty. I love these colours. I love them. Just look at it. It's just so nice. So it's going to start off with a solid blue part, and then it's going to, there's one whole thread through it which will change very slowly. I've got a little sample thread of what they look like. So it starts off blue, and then it'll go into the brown, then blue again, then brown, and then a little bit of blue at the end. So one of the plies is going to be this sequence all the way through the whole braid, and then it's going to be stripped down and placed with it. So it's going to blend with it's going to start with the blue, and then it's going to blend into the orangey, tan, brown. It's going to like meld with this blue, and then it's going to start again with the blue. So it's going to like mix up and marrow the colours, and then they will match up in certain parts of the jumper. I think it's going to be really nice. I'm so excited. So that is what I'm next working on. So yeah, that's kind of all I've been doing. Yesterday I did I did a ton of spinning, obviously, because I was dying to start off on this warp. I'm going to sit down now in front of the TV with my little cough buster, and I'm going to watch some Stargate Atlantis. I'm kind of getting into it, guys. Yeah, I've not watched it in a long time, so it's kind of all really fresh. I've watched Stargate SG-1, and I've watched Universe. I absolutely love Universe. I don't care that they were trying to be whatever it was, Battlestar Galactica. I don't care. I really like it. I really like it. I love the idea. It's brilliant. But I know it's not as silly as the original SG-1, but I like it. I like it all. I like the world and the characters, and it's just so good. So yeah, I'm really getting into Stargate Atlantis, and I think I've got like 6 more days to fly through it, so I'm going to work on that now today. I'm also going to edit the podcast and pop it up. It takes a whole day to do the podcast, but that's okay. I really enjoy it. So yeah. Now you may have noticed that there's no epic along James's jumper in today's episode. I'm sorry. That's all I can say, because I was busy. And also I think it's kind of good to change up your crafts a little bit, especially if your hands are hurting. I was starting to get pains in my elbow again, so I was like, do you know what, let's just leave that for a little bit. I think I did it. I didn't even consciously do it. I just kind of decided, oh, I want to weave and spin now instead, which is good, because changing up your crafts, change your motions, you know, getting up and going for a walk in between long sessions of knitting, it's good, because we can get into funks and we can kind of be like, I've also been exercising a little bit more in the mornings before each of us goes to work. We're going downstairs, and we're just doing like one of those really short, you know, those, we're actually doing abs, rock hard abs in 30 days. So we're doing kind of jumping jacks and stretches, and then lots of sit-ups and different types of crunches, and then planks, and just kind of core body strength, which I think is really important for me, especially because we're actually both very tall, so our backs have a tendency to go quite a lot, which is never a good thing when we're both hardworking people. So building up our core strength is kind of important. But I hate exercise. I hate the gym. I hate running. I hate it. I love nature. I love swimming. in the river or the sea or a lake, I love climbing mountains, but I haven't done that in a while because I've got some pains like when I start doing things, which means that I'm just not fit and I just need to do them more. I'll get there. But oh yes, on Thursday we went for a moonlit swim, and but the tides were very, very strong, so we managed to swim upstream no problem, but then coming back down we kind of had to all be rescued by boats. But we had about 6 boats on well, I think there was 2 big boats and a couple of canoes and then some paddle boarders, so they were great. They stayed with us, and we popped onto the boat, and it was grand. But it was wonderful. It was really nice. I might pop in some video now of the little of the picnic, not the picnic, but the little cups of tea and sandwiches and buns that we had after in the boat club, in the Cork boat club. And there was a fire roaring and it was wonderful. They had showers available and it was great. So I'm going to leave you there today, this week, with a little bit of Irish hospitality, and you can imagine what everything tasted like. Amazing, that's what. So enjoy your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
I see. Robert.
Oh, can I have a little sup? Thank you. Oh, you amazing creature. That'll do perfect. Amazing, amazing. Scone and a cup of tea. That's all you need. Made it out. Alive. Oh. 3 times on the way back. I was like, are you okay? Yeah.
I insist that part of photograph in there.
Good stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Cup of tea. The fire.